Tom Silverstein has been covering the Packers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, covering the Packers for over 30 years now. Ever had a situation like this, Tom?
Yes, just go back to Brett Favre. It's like I'm doomed to cover this at the end of a Hall of Famer's career every time. So if Jordan Love becomes a Hall of Famer and I last that long, I'll be expecting the same thing.
How would you recap yesterday?
It was crazy. I didn't expect that Rodgers would test positive and then find out he was unvaccinated. When he gave his press conference on the 26th of August and talked about being immunized, it struck me funny. It really did, because I try to listen to his word. He is a craftsman when it comes to wordplay. But he started talking more about vaccination, and I bought into it. And I'm kicking myself today that I didn't doubt it more. But it was a surprise. And, it's the time of COVID, and these things are happening all over.
How complicit are the Packers in this?
That's a good question. We're going to find out a little bit. I got to think that there was some rules bent, but the thing about it is everything is recorded in their facility. So if there were violations, where was the NFL? Because the NFL goes through these violations or through these tapes, and that's where they end up finding teams. And they've done it, at the Raiders. I forgot what the other teams were. So I think the NFL is probably complicit if indeed there were violations.
What was the local reaction to this?
Well, it's hard. It's sort of like the politics in this state. You're either on one side or the other. You either love Rodgers or you're mad about what happened in the off season. And so those who are mad about what happened in the off season are really mad today. I mean, they're just dug in. And those who love them, it kind of depends where you weigh in on the vaccination thing too. I think those who are really pro-vaccination are kind of losing their love for him.
I brought this up at the start of the show. I think in Rodgers' head, his mind, that he was protected his way. That, hey, I did research. I did it the holistic way. Now, he did apply for this and was turned down by the NFL. But he might have in his head thought, hey, I raised my antibodies and I'm immunized. And he said, yeah, are you vaccinated? Whoever asked the question, he said, yeah. And then he said, I'm immunized. And then he goes on to say, but yeah, it's a personal choice. And, I'm not here to basically say who should or shouldn't get, vaccinated or not. So that's what I was wondering here, that Rodgers may have thought he was protected, doing the right thing.
Yeah, I don't want to say that's a naive thought, Dan. I mean, because here's how I looked at it was this is a contractually, the rules here were collectively bargained between the NFL and the players union. And Rodgers he was part of that negotiation when they came up with the contract, the last contract. So he's not dumb enough to not know that this is a contractual thing. It's right there. It says you have to have the Moderna, the Pfizer, or the other one, Johnson & Johnson. No other vaccines count. It says it right in the contract. So I don't believe that he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He doesn't believe in the vaccination, and I feel he should have just been honest about it.
Do the Packers respond today?
In what way?
Does somebody get in front of a camera or the microphone and explain what they knew, when they knew it? Management, what went on behind the scenes here? Because I was told by a source this morning, the Packers, from this person's standpoint, are complicit in this. That they may have not wanted to upset Aaron Rodgers. They may have wanted to, hey, we're in it together. We'll take the bullet for you. We'll turn our head.
Yeah, I think that's there's some truth to that. I think there were some rules bent. I don't know to what extent I've been told he wears a mask, but from just our standpoint, the media, he didn't wear them at press conferences, and I don't know if that's a violation. That's still up in the air. We didn't see it like on the sideline or after games, like he knew he was not vaccinated and walking up to other players and things like that. He doesn't have to, but it's hard to know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. And no, I don't think they'll address it. I don't think they'll say another word about their role in it. Matt LaFleur was pretty clear yesterday that he's not saying anything. So it'll come out in investigation. And honestly, I don't think anything's going to come out of that. They're not going to slap someone really hard for Aaron Rodgers, especially when the NFL is probably complicit in it as well.
Yeah, I know. But then you had the Saints got dinged on this. The Titans got dinged on this. The Raiders got dinged on this. So I don't think the Packers are out of the woods here. All right, Jordan Love expectations. What should the expectations be for Jordan Love Sunday?
I think there should be some expectation. It's a year and a half into his career. He's a first-round pick. It's time. I mean, he had a little bit of action in the New Orleans game and moved the ball, had like a 58-yard drive till he got sacked and fumbled at the 5-yard line. I think there's expectation. This is exactly his moment, I think. And he's got to step up and be that guy. And at least, I mean, he doesn't have to beat the Chiefs, but he's got to play competitively.
You got a story either way. If Love plays well, okay, maybe we do have our future. If he doesn't play well, then what's the story? What's the angle there?
It's not the end of the world. It's, he's going to get another chance. I don't think Rodgers, I was going to say Favre, unbelievable. I don't think Rodgers is going to play against Seattle. I mean, he's not free until November 13th. And then that's assuming everything is okay. So I think Love could end up starting 2 games. And we'll know then. I mean, they got to make a judgment, too, after the season. Now, if Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, or the Packers win the Super Bowl, and Rodgers decides he wants to stay, they still have to make a decision. Is maybe Jordan Love, if he balls out these next 2 games, they just decide we're going with him.
You got PTSD, I think, when it comes to
totally.
Packer quarterbacks there. Can anything compare to the drama that surrounded Favre?
But that one is branded on me, like a big welt. I'll never get over that period. And so, no, I don't think this quite reaches that, but it is interesting. This one's a little more interesting. The other one was just tedious and brutal.
The cold weather, home field advantage for the Packers, when we get to the playoffs and NFC title game, I mean, is that still real, do you think?
It is to some degree. I mean, it wasn't for Tampa Bay last year. And the reason was because they have Tom Brady and because they have a defense. But, for teams like Tennessee came in and just got, they just weren't ready for it and just fell apart. So it kind of depends who you bring in and which team. But I tend to think it's only a factor if it's just brutally cold, if it's just like 0 degrees. And it hasn't been like that in a while. And even then, if you remember, Jim Harbaugh brought a team in the playoffs, and it was just ghastly cold, and they beat the Packers. So I don't think it's like a cure-all. It's that Rodgers, because he's so skilled and able to play in the cold, that's why they win. It was the same with Favre.
Great stuff, Tom. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. We appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, it was great being with you. Take care.
That's Tom Silverstein. Been covering the Packers for 30 years.